Are you a young adult reader or a parent of a young adult reader? Do you struggle to find books that are appropriate for your age or your child's age? Well, you've come to the right place. So, if you don't know, young adult is basically an age range in the book community for people who are aged between 12 and 18. And that's basically where the problem lies. 12-year-olds are not going to read the same things as 18-year-olds. 18-year-olds can deal with a lot more graphic stuff than 12-year-olds can. So, what can happen is 12-year-olds or a 13-year-old could pick up a book that is meant for a 17 or 18-year-old and obviously it ends up being inappropriate for the 12 or 13-year-old. The opposite can happen with 17 and 18-year-olds. It could be a bit too kiddie for them. So what I've done, I've scoured the internet, and basically what I've done is I have 7 genres of books here. Each genre has 10 books, so 70 books in total. Some of them are part of a series, some of them are standalones. When I talk about each book, I will also be putting an age rating, such as 12 plus or 15 plus, like in films. This is the minimum age that the person can read the book. Also, some of these books are not in order of them being the best in the genre, but there are the most popular ones that I have found. Something else to bear in mind is that I have not read all these books that are on this list, which I think's fair enough because there is 70 books that I'm going to be talking about. But I've done my research for each of these books, so I know a little bit about what each of these books are about. But without further ado, let's get on to the video. Pretty much all these books on this fantasy list I've read. Fantasy and sci-fi are my main genre that I read, so this one wasn't too bad to make. Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. So I'm hoping most of you have read Harry Potter. If you haven't, I really recommend it. The age rating for Harry Potter I'd say is 8+, but maybe a little older once you've hit the 4th book. If you don't know what Harry Potter is about, it's basically about this boy called Harry who goes to a witchcraft school and you sort of follow him through the school years. Like I said, if you haven't read Harry Potter, I highly recommend. It's how I got into reading. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. The Cruel Prince is about this girl called Jude and her 2 sisters who get stolen from their parents when they are just 7 years old and have to live in the High Court of Ferris, which is where Fairy World is. If you like Tinkerbell or any of those fairy things when you were a kid, I recommend it. The age rating for the book series is 14+. Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Lord of the Rings is probably peak fantasy. People consider Tolkien the father of fantasy, and you can see why once you've read this book series. Lord of the Rings is about this ring that is extremely powerful, and Frodo, our protagonist, has to get the ring to Mordor to destroy the ring. I know it's a very basic explanation of how to describe Lord of the Rings, but I'm on a limit here of how much time I can spend on each book. Lord of the Rings is 12+. Twilight by Stephenie Meyers. I know Twilight is considered romance as well, but in my romance genre there is no fantasy in it, so I just put Twilight in here because it is considered fantasy after all. If you read Twilight, you're probably going to be in 2 categories. The ones that are really like the fantasy and wanted more of the fantasy and the world building, aka the category I'm in, or you're going to be Edward versus Jacob and obsessed with the romance. If you don't know what Twilight's about, it's about this girl called Bella Swan who goes to live with her dad in Forks. She ends up meeting this guy called Edward Cullen. Turns out he has a lot of secrets, which Bella comes to find out throughout the book series. I am planning to do some videos on Twilight sometime soon, so look out for those, because I have a lot to say about the Twilight series. Twilight is aged 13+. Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Caraval is about these 2 siblings called Scarlett and Tessa. They get an invitation to attend this magical performance called Caraval. But this isn't just any performance, this is also a competition that has many twists and turns and where some people go crazy from the illusions. This book is 13+. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. One Dark Window is about this kingdom called Blunder, which is surrounded by this poisonous mist. If you touch the mist, you fall ill and get these powers, which are extremely dangerous and will kill the person eventually. Elizabeth Spindle ends up going into the mist, but people think that she didn't get the powers from the mist, so people think that she's immune, but really she has this voice called Nightmare that's in her head and is getting stronger and stronger by every minute. It's up to her to figure out the cure to this mist before the nightmare takes over her completely. This is actually one of my favourite fantasy series. It is for a more older audience, but once you're the right age to read it, I really recommend. The age rating for this book is 15+. Prison Healer by Lynette Loney. Prison Healer is about a 17-year-old girl called Kiva. Kiva is a prison healer in Zandor, but when the rebel queen is captured, it is up to Kiva to keep the rebel queen alive long enough for the queen to face the trial of ordeal. This book is 14+. His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. His Dark Materials is a trilogy that follows the coming-of-age journey of two children, Lyra Blackwell and Will Parry, who doesn't appear until the second book. There are parallel worlds and they go on adventures and they have to follow this quest in this series. This book series is aged 12+. Percy Jackson by Rick Riordan. Percy Jackson is about this boy called Percy who discovers that he's a demigod, half human, half god. In this world, all the Greek mythology stories are true, and in this series, Percy goes on quests and fights titans. There's also a prophecy about him. If he reaches 16 against all odds, he has to make a decision that will make Olympus rise or presume. Percy Jackson is one of my favourite childhood book series of all time. I really want to make a video on it at some point, so look out for that as well. Percy Jackson is 9+. Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. Okay, before you read this book series, Mortal Instruments spans a lot of book series and there's a certain reading order that you have to follow. I will link in the description so you can read them in the correct order, but basically you have this world where there is Shadowhunters fight demons, but there are also werewolves, vampires, fairies and warlocks. This universe is 14+. Science fiction. Okay, so with science fiction list, this is where I put all the dystopian books because dystopian is more science fiction than fantasy in my opinion. Like I said at the beginning, science fiction I read quite a lot of, but there are still a few books on here that I haven't read, but I really want to read them hopefully by this year. Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. In the ruins of a place once known as North America lies the nation of Panem. Panem has 12 districts, technically 13, but 13 was destroyed by the capital because of the rebellion. Every year, the districts have to send one boy, one girl to the capital for the Hunger Games, where all 24 kids from the districts have to fight to the death. The last one standing wins. The Hunger Games series is 12+. Shatter Me by Tiara Mulvey. Shatter Me is about this girl called Juliet who hasn't touched anyone in exactly 264 days. For some reason, every time Juliet touches someone, they die. She's been locked up in the asylum, and in that time there has been a disease that has been destroying the population. Shatter Me is 14+. Divergent by Victoria Rolfe. So, I actually have a traumatising story about reading Divergent, but I'm not going to talk about it in this video because I want to do a separate video about it. In this world, there are 5 factions: Candor, Abnegation, Dauntless, Amity and Erudite. When the children are young, they often live with their parents in whatever faction their parents are living in. When they turn 16, however, they have to do this test to see what faction they belong in. They can either go with what the test says or choose another one. Beatrice is about to turn 16. The question is, will she stay with her parents or will she choose a different faction? This book series is 13+. Maze Runner by James Dasher. When Thomas wakes up in the glade, the only thing he can remember is his name. He is now surrounded by boys whose memories are also gone. Outside of the glade, there is a maze that changes every day. No one has gone into the maze and come out. However, things are about to change. Maze Runner is 12+. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Mistborn has been my favourite series I've read this year. Mistborn is also a really good place to start if you want to read Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere universe. Like in Mortal Instruments, all of Brandon Sanderson's books are interconnected. There is a certain reading order that you have to follow. I will link in the description a YouTube video in what order to read the books, but everyone kind of agrees that Mistborn is the best place to start. Something else to be warned about is in the 3rd book, do not read it in public. I did, and it took a lot out of me not to cry. Mistborn is about this world where ash has fallen from the sky and flowers have not bloomed in 1,000 years. For 1,000 years, Scar have been slaves to nobles, but that is all about to change. Mistborn is 15+. Mortal Engines by Philip Reed. So, I haven't actually read Mortal Instruments. As I'm recording this, I actually have the books right in front of me. This is one of my sister's favourite series, and I've made a deal with her. If I read Mortal Engines, then she will read Lord of the Rings. So maybe I'll do a video on that, on my thoughts on this book series when I've read it. Mortal Engines is set in a dangerous future where huge monetized cities hunt and attack and fight each other for survival. As London pursues a small town, a young apprentice, Tom, is flung out into the wastelands, where a terrifying cyborg begins to hunt him down. This book series is 10+. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. In this world, Reds are commoners, ruled by a silver elite in the possession of godlike superpowers. Maria Barra is a 17-year-old girl from poverty-stricken. She finds herself working in the Silver Palace, where she is surrounded by people she hates. She finds out that she precedes a deadly power of her own, powers that will threaten to destroy the balance of power. Red Queen is 12+. 1984 by George Orwell. 1984 is pretty much what started dystopian. If 1984 hadn't been written, I reckon we wouldn't have gotten some of these books that are on this list. 1984 is set in a totalitarian state called Oceania, where a party led by the omnipresent Big Brother who controls every aspect of civilization and lives, including their thoughts and actions. 1984 is 14+. The Lunar Chronicles. In this series, you follow a girl called Cinder, a cyborg mechanic, as she navigates a perilous world threatened by a deadly plague and an evil lunar queen called Lavenna who seeks to conquer Earth. This book is aged 12+. Thriller. Okay, so thriller and murder mystery are very similar to each other in terms of genre. You'll find on Goodreads, when it says what genre the book is, 9 times out of 10 it will say mystery and thriller. So trying to put some of these books into the right genre was pretty difficult. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Originally, I had We Were Liars in the murder mystery category. However, when I was at Waterstones, I happened to come across this book and I read the blurb and realised it was psychological thriller instead of mystery. We Were Liars tells the story of Caven St. Clair, who experiences a traumatic accident when she turned 15. 2 years later, she returns to her family private island to piece together the fragments and memories of that fateful summer. This book is 13+. Stags by M.A. Bennett. Glee MacDonald is struggling to settle into St. Aidan's, also known as Stags. Glee receives a mysterious invitation with 3 words. When Glee learns that the invitation is to spend half the term weekend at the country manor of Henry D. Welcome's most popular, wealthiest boy at Stags, she is surprised. This book series is 14+. Getting Away with Murder by Catherine Foxfield. Okay, so I have 2 more books of hers on this list I will go through after this one, so I won't be putting her name again. Getting Away with Murder was the first book I read by Catherine Foxfield, and I found her books very fast-paced and very easy to get through. Getting Away with Murder is about a group of teens that get trapped in a deadly escape room designed by a rogue AI. You mainly follow these 2 twins called Saffron and Georgia, who are complete opposites and absolutely hate each other. Saffron actually works at the escape room, and she makes a harmless comment to the AI about a video game that she really likes and the types of people that play the game. This causes the AI to make a simulation of this game, and then that's how you get the teens trapped in the escape room. This book is 15+. Tag You're Dead. Tag You're Dead is about a live stream game of tag in London where you truly die. This game was orchestrated by someone called Anton Fraser. This game is equipped with technology to track and eliminate each of the players. The winner of the game becomes his live stream acolyte. However, the question is, how far will these players go to win for the fame, money, or revenge? This book is 13+. It's Behind You. Okay, last one by Catherine Foxfield. It's Behind You is about this reality TV show where there are 5 contestants. The TV show is set in haunted Umber Gorge caves. The contestants must survive a night whilst being terrorised by a ghost called the Puckered Maiden. This book series is 13+. The Murder Hypothesis by Sarah Wishart. In this book, you follow a girl called Grace, who is a science-obsessed teenager. She moves to a new town and becomes convinced that several seemingly deaths are actually murders. Driven by her passion, she investigates these cases and uncovers the dark secrets and dangerous situations. This book is 13 plus. Let's Split Up by Bill Will. Let's Split Up is about these 4 friends who decide to investigate a series of murders in town, which is rumoured to be haunted by ghosts. They end up going to Carrington Manor, despite the local police warning them to not go. Once they are in Carrington Manor, they decide to split up to search for clues. But was this really a good idea? Let's Split Up is aged 14 plus. I Know You Did It by Sun Wallman. I Know You Did It is about Ruby, who is about to start her first day at school. However, on her first day, she finds a note saying, "I know you did it." This triggers a terrifying realization that someone knows about her involvement in a childhood accident with a girl called Hannah who died. As more students die at her school, Ruby fears that she is being framed for these murders, and the mystery of how Hannah died will be revealed. I Know You Did It is 12 plus. Catch Your Death by Ravana Giran. DC, Lizzie and Janus are stranded at a wealthy estate during a snowstorm. Emily Van Fort is poisoned and the 3 girls find themselves embroidered in a murder mystery investigation and must work out who the killer among the remaining guests is. Catch Your Death is aged 12 plus. Welcome to Camp Killer by Cynthia Murphy. Camp Killer is set in a camp residential in UK England. Camp Miller is caught in a series of increasingly dangerous and mysterious incidents. As the counsellors investigate, they uncover the dark history of the camp and the vengeful spirit. This book is aged 13. Horror. Okay, so this list was an absolute nightmare to make, mainly because I don't read horror, because it scares me. I've only read 1 book from this horror list. Also, something else to bear in mind, I'm only going to be talking about the book, the author and the age rating, because if I talk about the book and what it's about, I'm scared I'm going to give myself nightmares afterwards. So it will be up to you to figure out what the book is about and do your own research about the book. I also did not put any Stephen King books on here, not because I think he's a bad author, but because I think his books are not to be read by young adults. If you are a young adult and you're planning to read one of Stephen King's books, maybe check with your parents first and check for trigger warnings before you read the book. How to Survive a Horror Movie by Scarlett Dunmore. So this is the only horror book I've read from this list, and I did really enjoy it. It was a bit gory in some places, but I think if you really like mystery and you want to get into horror, I think this is a really horror book to start off with. The sequel for this book is going to be coming out in September and I am definitely planning to read it. This book is aged 13 plus. Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Like I said, I've only read 1 book from this horror list, but my friend really likes this book and knows everything about it, so I'm guessing it's good. This book is aged 9 plus. Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This book's age rating is 12 plus. The Monstromologist by Rick Yancey. This book is aged 14 plus. Beast by Ali Cannon. This book is aged 13 plus. The Devouring by Simon Holt. Age rating for this book, 14 plus. Not Even Bones by Rebecca Schaeffer. This book is aged 14 plus. Bloody Mary by Hilary Monahan. This book's age rating is 13 plus. The Demonitor by Darren Shan. Age rating 10 plus. Frozen Charlotte by Alex Bell. Age rating for this book, 13 plus. Mystery. So as a kid, murder mystery books used to scare me, but over the past year, I've built up an intolerance to scary side of mystery, and now it's one of my favourite genres. If I ever need a break from fantasy, I normally pick up a murder mystery book, and I always have a great time with it. I love making wild guesses of what's going to happen at the end. Most of the time I'm wrong, but it's still fun to do. Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Good Girl's Guide to Murder is how I got into murder mystery books. This series is probably one of my favourite series of all time. Holly Jackson, the person who wrote these books, is one of my favourite authors. She's written 3 other books. One of them is adult, so it won't be on this list, but the 2 others are on this list as well. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder follows a girl called Pippa, or her more commonly named Pip. Pip is doing a school project about Annie Bell, who went missing 5 years ago, before the first book is set. Everyone thinks that Annie's boyfriend Sal did it, but Pip doesn't think Sal did it. Along the way, Pip uncovers dark secrets and hidden truths, putting her life at risk. This book series is 14 plus. Okay, so this one and the next one are both by Holly Jackson. They're both standalones. You don't have to read Good Girl's Guide to Murder to understand either of these books. However, I do prefer Good Girl's Guide to Murder to these other 2. But I still really like them both. 5 Survive are about the 6 friends who are on spring break and are going on a road trip in an RV They find themselves stuck when they take a wrong turn and puncture their tyres. They realise that they have been targeted by a sniper and that one of the 6 has a secret that the sniper wants. This book is aged 14 plus. Belle's mum went missing 16 years ago, leaving Belle the only witness. 16 years later, Belle's mother, Rachel, reappears again during the filming of a true crime documentary. Belle questions her mother's disappearance and tries to uncover what really happened. Throughout the book, Belle covers hidden truths, family secrets, leaving her to question who can she really trust. This book is 14 plus. One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. When 5 high school students are put in detention, only 4 of them come out alive and become suspects in the death of Simon. Simon was the creator of a gossip app in school. He reveals secrets of his fellow students. After his death, somehow the app is still active and is threatening to reveal the other 4 students' secrets. This book is 14 plus. The Cousins. Another one by Kathleen M. McManus. This one is about 3 cousins who are invited to work at their grandmother's island restaurant for the summer, despite the fact that their grandmother disowned their parents years ago. The 3 of them discover family secrets and uncover a web of lies and mysteries surrounding their parents. This book is 14 plus. Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. In the 1930s, Albert Elgin's wife and his daughter were kidnapped. The only thing remaining of them is a cryptic message signed by Truly Devious. Back to the present day, Stevie Bell is a true crime enthusiast. She arrives at Illingham with one goal: to solve this cold case. This book is aged 13 plus. The Inheritance Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The Inheritance Game is about this girl called Avery who finds herself inheriting Tobias Hawthorne's billion fortune. The thing is, Avery has no idea who this man is. Avery must move into Tobias Hawthorne's opulent, puzzle-filled mansion. Avery must navigate a world of dangerous games, riddles and secrets, and try and cover the truth behind the inheritance. The Inheritance Game is aged 12 plus. Last Seen Online by Gotti Writes. This book explores themes such as toxic fandoms, online obsessions, and the dark side to social media. Delilah gets drawn into a decade-old scandal involving a popular paranormal TV show after Sawyer Safed, the son of a Hollywood actress. This book is aged 14 plus. Till Death by Brucio Moccinato. Till Death is about a wedding where Darren, the bride-to-be, receives anonymous threats. Enthusiast Lara, Darren's cousin, investigates these threats. She uncovers a web of secret, malicious crimes, and near-death experiences. This book is aged 13 plus. The Natural by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Cassie is a teenage girl who has an exceptional profile of skills. She is recruited by the FBI to join a program for gifted teens. They work together to solve cold cases using their unique abilities. The Naturals is 12 plus. How to Find a Missing Girl by Victor Wilsar. How to Find a Missing Girl is about Iris, who investigates the disappearance of her ex-girlfriend Heather. A year after her sister Stella went missing, Iris and her friends form a detective group to uncover the truth behind the 2 disappearances. This book is aged 14. Historical fiction. So, like with horror, I've only read 1 book from the historical fiction list. I would like to read more historical fiction, so maybe I'll read some of these books on this list at some point. And like I did with horror, I'm only going to put the name, the book, and the age rating, and the author, because I am very aware that this video is getting rather long. The Book Thief by Marcia Zusak. So this is the only historical fiction book that I've read, and I really enjoyed it. It does make me want to read more historical fiction, and I've also watched the film and I really enjoyed the film. This book is aged 13 plus. Loving War by Julie Berry. This book's age rating is 14 plus. Codename Verify by Elizabeth E. This book's age rating is 13 plus. Salt to the Sea by Rod Socrates. The age rating for this book, 12 plus. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Age rating 12 plus. The Diviners by Libba Bray. Age rating 13 plus. I Must Betray You by Ruta Secretarius. This book's age rating is 12 plus. Anne and Swallow Men. Age rating 12 plus. Mirror Girl by Kelly McWilliams. Age rating 12 plus. The Davenport by Crystal Marquis. Age rating 14 plus. Romance. So I have a love-hate relationship with this genre. There are some romance books I absolutely love and some absolutely hate. The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. The Summer I Turned Pretty follows Isabel, also known as Belly. Every year, Belly spends the summer with her mother, brother, and Fisher family, where she has always harboured a crush on Comrade Fisher. This summer, however, Both Conrad and his brother, Jeremiah, begin to show romantic interests in her, leading to a complicated love triangle. This book series is aged 12+. Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Better Than the Movies tells the story of Liz, a high school senior and a hopeless romantic who is determined to have a movie-worthy romance with her childhood crush, Michael, when he returns to their town. This book is aged 14+. Heartstopper by Alice Osman. I know, Heartstopper is a graphic novel, but I couldn't help myself considering this is one of my childhood favourite book series. It was the book series that me and my friends non-stop talked about. We used to say what character we were and joked about funny moments in the books. The point being, it was a whole thing with my friend group, so it holds a special place in my heart. Heartstopper follows two boys, Charlie Spring, a gay teenager who is amazing at playing drums, and Nick Nelson, a popular rugby player. You follow their blossoming relationship throughout the series. This story explores themes of love, identity, and coming out, and also follows self-acceptance when Nick questions his own sexuality after being befriended by Charlie. This series is aged 12+. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Okay, so this book was really annoying to put into one genre, because you could say that it's fantasy because there is some magic, but not that much. But then you can also say it's historical fiction because it's based on World War II, with some slight changes to it. I decided to put it in romance because it is the main plot of the book. I absolutely love this book. I got it for Christmas and I read it on Christmas Day and inhaled this book. It was so good, one of my favourite reads. Divine Rivals follows Iris Willow, a young journalist trying to hold her family together during the war between the gods. She writes letters to her missing brother and finds them mysteriously appearing at the hands of Rome and Kit. This leads to an unlikely connection as they navigate the magical world, brutal war, and their growing feelings for each other. This book is aged 14+. Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Hazel Grace is a 16-year-old girl with terminal cancer. She meets Augustus Waters at a cancer support group and they start a relationship. Together, they navigate the complexities of love, loss, and search for meaning in the world marked by illness. This book is aged 14+. The Summer of Broken Rules, K.L. Welver. The Summer of Broken Rules follows Meredith Fowl. She returns to Martha's Vineyard for her family annual summer vacation, a year and a half after her sister Clara died. This is also different because it includes a family wedding and the traditional assassin game, which Clara always loved. Meredith also forms an alliance with a boy named Whit while trying to win the game in honour of Clara's memory. This book is aged 14+. Check and Mate by Ellie Hazelwood. Melody Greenleaf is a former chess progeny who swore off the game after her father's death. She prioritised caring for her family, working a death-end job and avoiding chess. However, she reluctantly enters a charity tournament and unexpectedly defeats the world champion Nolan Sawyer. Now Melody is drawn back into the world of chess, facing both challenges and high-stakes competition and rekindling her passion for chess. Check and Mate is aged 14+. The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. The Do-Over tells the story of Emily Hornby, a high school junior who experiences a disastrous Valentine's Day, only to find herself reliving it repeatedly. She gets stuck in a loop where she has to repeat the day, trying to fix the mistakes she made and change the outcomes, especially concerning her boyfriend, Josh, and the mysterious Nick Stark. This book is aged 14+. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This book is about two individuals, Justin and Emma, with this particular curse where every person they date finds their soulmate after they break up with them, so they decide to enter a temporary relationship to break this particular curse. The story explores their journey filled with unexpected challenges, real-life feelings, and complicated mental health. So maybe check with trigger warnings before you read this book. Just for the Summer is aged 15+. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This was another popular book within my friend group. I mainly read this because I was really into Greek mythology at the time and I wanted to read something with Greek mythology in that wasn't Percy Jackson. Do I regret reading this book? No, but it definitely traumatised me as a 13-year-old. The Song of Achilles is a retelling of the story of legendary Greek hero Achilles from the perspective of his closest companion Patroclus. The story follows their intertwined lives from childhood friendship to their involvement in the Trojan War, exploring themes of love, fate, and consequences of war. The Song of Achilles is aged 14+. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hoped it helped in some way or another. I really hope you found a couple of books that you might want to read. If you've already read some of these books, let me know in the comment, and if you enjoyed any of them and If there are any other books that you want to recommend people, you can put them in the comments as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.